Hey guys, Furtado here, and we're going to be spending some time this week continuing with our discussions and our talks and our learning and everything about DNA, protein synthesis, transcription, translation, but we're going to take it one step further and we're going to talk about what happens when these things go wrong. What happens when there's a mistake? What happens when there's a random change that occurs? And a lot of times what that can lead to is mutations. Now, you started this activity by watching a little video clip, and I have two pictures up here. My favorite, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Michelangelo is the coolest, okay? And the X-Men. This happens to be the poster from the X-Men in Portuguese that was in Brazil, simply because that's where I saw X-Men. And I saw it in Portuguese. And it was really good, even though I didn't know what they were saying. X-Men, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, mutations. And sometimes, unfortunately, society, due to social media, due to Hollywood, things like that, this is what we think of when we think of mutations. We think of hands that have metal coming out of them, growing a third arm out of our back, turtles that can be covered in ooze and then become ninja warriors. And that's not actually how a lot of these mutations work. Mutations don't necessarily cause these extreme things. In fact, sometimes mutations don't cause anything, and sometimes they can cause debilitating disease that ends life very early for some people. So we're going to be taking a look at specifically one type of mutation that occurs at the level that we've been talking about, at the level of transcription and translation. So as we go through, there's going to be like 3 slides or so before your assignment that you're going to do. You should take out your notes wherever you've been putting transcription, translation notes and pictures and all of that. And we're going to add a little bit to that as we go today. So, first of all, mutations. What are mutations? Mutations are a random change in the sequence of nucleotides in DNA. Note, random change. Not something that's controlled, not something that's planned, not necessarily something that's predictable. A random change in the sequence of nucleotides. So we're going to be talking about A's, T's, C's, and G's, or A, U, G, and C. Now, on a broad scale, when we talk about mutations on our chromosomes of our DNA, there's 2 ways it can happen. One, it can happen at the gene level, which is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about individual genes. Remember, definition of a gene is a segment of DNA. Then there are also chromosomal mutations. We'll be talking about these later in genetics. These affect entire chromosomes. These can affect 10, 15, 20, 100 genes at one time instead of just one gene. So one of the questions on your quiz eventually is going to be, what's the difference between, or what are the 2 types of mutations? And the answer is gene and chromosomal. When we talk about gene mutations, we're going to focus on 2 types of gene mutations, okay? We're going to focus on point mutations first. Get this down in your notes. Point mutations affect 1 nucleotide. Get it? They affect 1 point. They affect 1 letter. Okay? Sometimes this is called a substitution mutation, because what you do is 1 base ends up getting substituted for another. 1 base gets substituted for another. So I have an example here, okay? Originally the DNA should say GCA. And if we transcribe that, we get CGU. And if we translate that using the wheel and the charts, we get arginine. Now I'm going to cause a point mutation. I'm going to affect 1 nucleotide, 1 base. Point mutation. Look what happened right here. I substituted a T. I swapped. I changed. It used to be a C. Mutation. Many different things can cause these mutations, even just mistakes in the double checking of the enzymes. So now instead of a C, that's a T. Well, when we transcribe that, we end up with CAU. So look, it changed the mRNA as well. And when we translate it and use our wheel, we end up with histidine. Now we have a different amino acid. Now, maybe that amino acid changes something really big. It can. Maybe that amino acid gives you brown hair, but you were supposed to have blonde hair originally, okay? So it doesn't have to be huge and major, but it can be as well. Point mutations generally, except for in the video you're gonna watch later, generally cause a little less of a change, a little less damage. They have less of an effect, okay? And that's because it only changes 1 point. It only changed one it only changed one base, which only changed one codon, which only changed one amino acid. I want to take a look at this in sentences because one of the things you're going to do later on deals with sentences. So, I have a sentence made out of all 3-letter words, okay? And I broke it up by groups of 3 because that's like breaking it up by codons, okay? By breaking it up by amino acids. So the sentence says, the sun was hot, but the old man did not get his red hat. Yes, I have it memorized, okay? Now I'm going to cause a point mutation to the sentence. Look what I did. Right here, just this one letter. I substituted an E for the A. Now the sentence says, the sun was hot, but the old man did not get his red hat. I didn't change anything down here, that was all the same. And before the mutation, I didn't change anything. But this 1 point in the sentence, I did change. It's no longer the word was, it's the word wes. I don't even know what that means. This is a point mutation. It only affects 1 point in the protein, 1 amino acid. Everything else stayed the same. So that is a point mutation, which is a type of gene mutation. There is a second type of gene mutation. This is called a Frameshift mutation. This is going to happen by either adding or deleting a base. So this is very different than what we just talked about. And when you add or delete, we call it a frameshift because we say it changes the reading frame. It shifts everything one way or another, and that changes how you read the whole amino acid chain, the whole protein. So here I have another example for you, okay? The original DNA before mutation is right here. TAC, CGCA, TGG, ATT. Transcribe it. Sorry guys, low power mode. There we go. Transcribe it. Right here's the mRNA. Translate it. Look, methionines first. Aragonine, threonine, stop. So we know that's a protein. Now I'm going to mutate it. And what I did was right between that T and the A, I added, so this is an addition, I added a T. Well, when I added the T in, that C got bumped down. Here it is. Which means that A got bumped down. Here it is. This G got bumped down. Here it is. And this T got bumped out all by itself. Well, I changed those 3, those 3, those 3, and those 3. So I changed 1, 2, 3, 4 amino acids. And not only that, but this is big trouble because look at the first one that I changed. I changed this. There's no longer a methionine. Without a methionine, there's no protein made. Without a start codon and a stop codon, there will be no protein. This might be the protein that goes on to give you eyelashes. You might not have eyelashes. People are born without eyelashes. Maybe it's because there's a random change, a mutation, that causes the protein to develop eyelashes to not be made. I want to take a look at the idea of a reading frame and a frameshift mutation in a sentence. Here's my same sentence because that's best for me, okay? The sun was hot, but the old man did not get his red hat. Now there's 2 types of frameshift mutations. I said that already. I said an addition and a deletion. So first we're going to do a frameshift addition mutation. So right here between the letters U and N, I added a D. This is an addition. I put a new letter in. So now, I actually do have to look at the sentence this time. Now the sentence says, the sud noir show taboo the io dma nadi de no to get the sera da ha. everything shifted because I added one letter in. I added one letter right here and everything shifted. And guess what? Everything changed. None of those words are the same anymore. If those were all amino acids making a protein, that's a huge difference. That's a lot of amino acids changing. That means there would be a big, big, big change occurring. You can also have a frameshift deletion mutation. I'm going to show you that same sentence. What I did here was right here, this H, I got rid of it. Right here's where the H should have been. Now the sentence says, the sun was and I know that word, idni oti ithe isur idha at. That's not 3 letters, so it doesn't even count. Again, I deleted a letter, I removed a letter, a random letter, and how I read the whole sentence changes. I shifted the whole reading frame. I deleted one, so every letter hopped one that way. That is a frame shift mutation. So, your assignment, what you're going to do next, you're going to go to this Google Doc. And on the Google Doc, there are directions for you to read. But I'm going to tell them now to you as well. You have to come up with your own 5-word, 3-letter word sentence. So I came up with this sentence. You need to come up with a sentence that includes at least 5 words. All the words have to be 3 letters because codons are only 3 letters. And then after you write out the sentence, then you need to choose how you're going to mutate it with either a frameshift addition or a frameshift deletion or a point mutation. Then you're going to rewrite it with the mutation and you're going to tell us what mutation you did. Follow the directions on the Google Doc and refer to this video or your notes as you're going anytime you need to. And you're going to continue doing a whole bunch of different things with mutations, and next week you're going to get to deal with superheroes and mutations. Superheroes are totally the theme for this little mini unit. Alrighty, if you have any questions, Schoology message your teacher, and I'll talk to you later, guys. See ya. Bye.